News of Jimin's admiration for Jungkook has again become a hot topic among fans and observers of the Korean entertainment industry. It's not about the music, nor about the stage performances that always amaze, but about Jungkook's way of thinking and managing his future, especially through property investments. Many wondered why Jimin looked so amazed, even in some moments mentioned not hesitating to praise Jungkook's decision in front of those closest to him. The answer apparently lies in the way Jungkook views property as not just a symbol of luxury, but as a form of long-term responsibility that is very mature for his age. Jungkook is known to the public as the magne of BTS who is full of energy, perfectionism, and totality in work. But behind the image of the global star, there is a side of Jungkook that is rarely exposed, namely his very calm and measured way of thinking about finances. Jimin, who has lived and grown up with Jungkook since his trainee days, is one of the people who best understands the change in his friend's perspective. According to stories circulating in internal circles, Jungkook is not the type of person who is tempted to waste money on momentary things. He is more interested in something that can be quiet but works, a term he is said to have said when discussing property with other members. Jimin's admiration arises because Jungkook does not view property investment as a show of wealth. He began with a very deep research, studying the location, long-term value, to the function of the building in the future. Jungkook is said to prefer properties with value growth potential rather than just luxury homes that only satisfy the eye. This is what makes Jimin surprised, because at a relatively young age and with extraordinary fame, Jungkook actually thinks like an experienced investor in BTS's closest circle. Jungkook is known to talk about money very rarely. But when the topic of property comes up, he can turn into a very serious and focused figure. Jimin had reportedly heard Jungkook explain at length about the importance of strategic locations, the surrounding environment, to long-term urban planning plans. For Jimin, this is not just small talk, but proof that Jungkook is really preparing for the future with a cool head. The admiration was not because of the fantastic value of the property, but because of the mindset behind the decision. What makes this story even more interesting is Jungkook's personal reasons for investing. He thought not only of himself, but also of his family. Jungkook grew up in a humble family, and those past experiences shaped his outlook on life's stability. Property for him is a symbol of security, something tangible and able to protect those he loves from uncertainty in the future. Jimin, who knew Jungkook's journey well from the beginning, understood that every decision was born from experience and a great sense of responsibility. The way Jungkook chooses properties is also quite unique. He is not in a hurry and is not easily influenced by trends. When many celebrities are vying to buy super luxury homes in the most crowded locations for the media spotlight, Jungkook is more happy to choose a place that is private, quiet, and has long-term value. This often makes Korean media speculate and wonder, while Jimin actually sees it as intelligence that idols of their age rarely have on several occasions. Jimin is said to have joked that Jungkook was too mature for his age. But behind the joke, there is great respect. Jimin saw how Jungkook never separated his career and personal life to the extreme, but rather balanced them. Property investment is one way Jungkook maintains that balance, ensuring that behind the stage spotlight and hectic schedule, there is a strong foundation that sustains his life in the future. For fans, this story about Jungkook's property investment opens up a new angle. Jungkook is not only a talented and hard-working idol, but also an individual who is well aware of the importance of life planning. Jimin's admiration became a kind of emotional validation that Jungkook's decision was not an impulsive decision, but rather the result of long thought and strong life values. This also explains why Jungkook is often seen as calm in the face of issues and pressures, as he knows that his life does not depend solely on popularity. This narrative also shows the dynamics of Jimin and Jungkook's deep friendship. Jimin's admiration is not envy, but pride in seeing his best friend grow into a mature person. In a world of entertainment full of temptation and uncertainty, Jungkook chose a quiet but solid path. The properties he invests in may not always be seen in the media, but the impact is felt in the way he walks through life with more stability and confidence in the end. The reason why Jimin is so amazed lies in one simple but rare thing, which is Jungkook's consistency in holding on to his life principles. Property investment is just one tangible manifestation of that principle. Jungkook not only built a career, but also built the foundation of life. And for Jimin, seeing his best friend able to think that far in the midst of the glittering idol world is something worthy of admiration, respect, and maybe even inspiration. That Jimin's admiration for Jungkook grew as he realized that the decision to invest in property was not something that came out of the blue. Jungkook went through a long process of silence, away from the spotlight of cameras and news. He learns from many sources, listens to professional advice, but still filters everything with his personal instinct. For Jungkook, property is not just a financial asset, but a living space that has emotional value. He often thinks about how a place can provide a sense of security, tranquility, and sustainability, not just for today, but for decades to come. This way of thinking is what makes Jimin silent and slowly understand that his best friend has stepped far beyond just a popular idol, but in small conversations that are rarely heard in public. Jungkook is said to often discuss time. He believes that money can be found, popularity can rise and fall, but time never returns. Property investment for him is a way of locking time, planting something now so that later it will remain valuable when he is no longer at the top of the spotlight. Jimin, who also feels the rigors of the entertainment industry, sees that thought as a rare form of emotional maturity. In an age when many people still enjoy the fruits of hard work without thinking about the long-term risks, Jungkook is busy preparing for the worst. Another thing that amazed Jimin was Jungkook's attitude that never felt the most knowing. Despite having a deep understanding of the property, he remains humble and open to input. Jungkook did not hesitate to ask, not proud to admit if there were things he did not understand. This attitude contrasts with the image of a big star who is often considered an all-rounder. Jimin sees firsthand how Jungkook separates ego from financial decisions, an important lesson that not even all adults are capable of. Over time, the property investment also shaped the way Jungkook lived his life. He became more organized, more careful in making decisions, and more selective in choosing a lifestyle. Not that he loses his youthful side, but he knows when to have fun and when to hold back. Jimin realizes that Jungkook's current calmness does not come from instant comfort, but from a sense of security that he builds himself slowly. The property became a symbol of control over his life, something that is not easily shaken by rumors or changes in trends. In Jimin's view, what Jungkook does also reflects his sense of responsibility as part of BTS. Jungkook not only thinks of himself as an individual, but also as someone who carries the big name of the group. With a strong financial foundation, Jungkook can work more freely without excessive pressure on the future. This indirectly had a positive impact on the dynamics of the group, as each member could focus on the music and the message they wanted to convey to the world. Fans who began to understand the story behind Jimin's admiration also saw Jungkook from a different perspective. He is not only a talented young figure with a golden voice, but also a figure who can serve as an example of how to deal with success with a cold head. Property investment. Jungkook teaches that true success is not always shown by flashy things, but by silent decisions that have a long impact. Jimin, as the closest witness of the journey, became the most natural person to feel admiration. Interestingly, Jungkook himself never made this a matter of pride. It does not show off,